Your mind never really stops. Even right now, while you're watching this, there's a part of your brain quietly running in the background, analyzing, questioning, replaying something that happened 3 days ago. And the painful part isn't the thinking. The painful part is knowing you're doing it and not being able to stop. If that's you, stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see your own mind. Here's what everyone gets wrong about people who think too much. They call it anxiety. They call it weakness. They say, just stop overthinking it. You're making it worse. Why can't you just let it go? As if there's a switch. As if you haven't already tried turning it off 1,000 times. But psychology tells a completely different story. And once you hear it, you'll never look at your own mind the same way again. Here's what research actually says. People who think too much are not weak. They're not broken. In many cases, they are operating with one of the most powerful cognitive systems a human brain can have. Studies out of Yale and the University of Michigan have consistently shown this. People who ruminate deeply are not doing so because something is wrong with them. They're doing it because their brain is exceptionally good at pattern recognition. It's always scanning, always processing, always searching for meaning, even when there's nothing left to find. The problem isn't the intelligence. The problem is that the system never gets a signal to stop. Let's get inside your head for a second. Psychologists call this pattern maladaptive rumination, a tendency for the mind to circle back to the same thought loops over and over, especially around uncertainty, past events, and social situations. Now here's the neuroscience behind it. There's a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, analysis, and self-reflection. In people who overthink, this region stays highly active even during downtime, even when nothing is happening. Even at 2 a.m. when the room is dark and everything is quiet, your prefrontal cortex is still running. And alongside it, the default mode network, your brain's background processing system, keeps generating internal monologue. The result? A mind that is essentially always online, always auditing, always drafting responses to conversations that haven't happened yet. Stop for a second. Think about the last time your brain truly went quiet. Not sleep, not distraction, actually quiet. Most overthinkers can't remember, and there's a chemical reason for that. Here's something that will make everything click into place. Your brain releases small amounts of dopamine during the act of problem solving. Even imagine problem solving. So when you run through a scenario, analyzing every angle, constructing arguments in your head, preparing for a conversation that may never happen, your brain is being chemically rewarded just for the activity itself, not for arriving at an answer, just for thinking. This is why telling someone to just stop thinking about it is neurologically naive. The brain has a chemical incentive to keep going. It's not stubbornness, it's not drama, it's chemistry. But why does this pattern develop in the first place? For most overthinkers, it doesn't begin in adulthood. It begins in childhood. Research on the developmental origins of rumination shows that when a child grows up in an unpredictable environment, where moods shifted without warning, where mistakes had consequences that felt too big, where emotional safety wasn't guaranteed, the young brain learns a survival strategy. Think ahead, anticipate everything. If you can predict what's coming, maybe you can protect yourself. And here's the profound truth in that. Overthinking in this light is not a flaw. It is an adaptation, a very smart nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do to keep you safe. The problem is, you grew up. The danger passed. But the system kept running. Now this is where most people miss something important. Psychologists identify 2 distinct types of overthinking. The first is called reflective rumination. This is when you turn inward to understand yourself, to process emotions, to learn from what happened, to grow. When it's balanced, this is actually a strength. It's linked to higher emotional intelligence and deeper self-awareness. The second type is brooding rumination. This is the darker version. It's the loop that sounds like this. Why did I say that? What if they hate me now? Why am I like this? What if everything falls apart? No resolution, no movement, just the same thought on repeat, draining you. And here's the brutal part. Most overthinkers switch between both sometimes in the same hour. A moment of healthy self-reflection slides almost invisibly into a spiral. And because the thinking feels productive, because the brain is engaged, it's genuinely hard to notice when you've crossed the line. Cognitive psychologists call this the illusion of mental progress. Your mind feels like it's solving something, but it's just looping. I want you to hear this part carefully. A 2013 study published in the journal Psychological Science found something remarkable. People who reported higher levels of rumination also scored significantly higher on measures of cognitive empathy, the ability to understand and anticipate how others might think or feel. The same people who can't sleep because they're replaying a conversation are also the ones who notice the tension in a room before anyone else does, the ones who catch the shift in someone's tone, the ones who feel things at a depth most people never access. The very engine that makes overthinking so exhausting is also what makes you remarkable. And nobody ever told you that. Nobody handed you a manual for a mind that operates at this level. Everyone just told you to calm down, to let it go, to stop overthinking, as if the same mind that sees everything others miss should just switch off. It can't, and it was never supposed to. So, what do you actually do with this? Therapists who work with chronic overthinkers have found something important. The goal is not to stop the thoughts. The goal is to change your relationship with them. There's a technique from acceptance and commitment therapy called cognitive diffusion. Instead of trying to stop the thought, you separate yourself from it. Instead of saying, I am anxious, I need to figure this out, you say, I notice my brain is generating an anxious thought right now. One pulls you in, the other gives you distance. That one shift from being inside the thought to observing it changes everything. Another thing research shows actually works: scheduled worry time. Set aside 15 minutes a day. Write down every loop your brain is running. Outside of those 15 minutes, when the thought comes back, your brain knows it has a slot. And remarkably, it waits. These aren't magic fixes, but they are the beginning of learning how to live with the most powerful and most exhausting thing you will ever own: your mind. Here's what I want you to leave with. The fact that you think this deeply is not a curse. It means you care about getting things right. It means you feel things at a level most people can't reach. It means you take life seriously in a world full of people who coast through it without a second thought. Don't try to become someone who doesn't think. Become someone who finally understands why they think this way and what to do with all of it. Because the mind that kept you up last night, that same mind understood correctly, is one of the most powerful things you have ever been given. If this video felt like someone finally explained you to yourself, send it to one person who's always been told they need to just stop overthinking. Let them know there's a reason, and it's not what anyone told them.